This man scored goals that ruined Premier League defenders for a living. That part you probably know. What you might not know is that a few years into his career, this same man is credited with something no footballer has ever really done before: help him pause a civil war.
Ivoirien, du nord et du sud, du centre à l'ouest. Vous avez vu, on vous a prouvé aujourd'hui que toute la Côte d'Ivoire peut cohabiter, peut jouer ensemble pour un même objectif, se qualifier pour le mondial.
Both of those things are true, and they start the same way, with a £24 million gamble nobody wanted to make. Summer of 2004. Chelsea have a shiny new owner, a mountain of cash, and access to every elite striker in Europe. Roman Abramovich wants a proven superstar, a household name. Instead, Jose Mourinho looks him dead in the eye and says, "Mr.
Drogba. And who is he? Where is he playing? Mr. Abramovich, pay and don't speak."
£24 million later, absurd money at the time, a 26-year-old from Ivory Coast walks into Stamford Bridge with everything to prove. The British media treated him like a gamble. European defenders treated him like a problem. Premier League centre-backs treated him like a natural disaster. Before Drogba, English football expected strikers to be clever, quick or quiet. He was something else entirely, 6'2" of muscle, who played 90 minutes like it owed him something personal. He didn't just score goals, he humiliated world-class defenders for fun. Ask Jamie Carragher. He still probably wakes up thinking about that touch and turn at Stamford Bridge. Drogba didn't wait for service. He created chaos from nothing, took the ball on his chest with 3 defenders draped on his back, and buried it top corner like it was nothing. In West London, he was becoming every opposition manager's nightmare. But 4,000 miles away, in Abidjan, something much bigger was already starting. Every time Drogba stepped onto a Premier League pitch, an entire country stopped moving. Chelsea thought they were just winning football matches. They didn't know they were building something that would outlast every trophy. To understand why Ivory Coast became a Chelsea stronghold, you have to realise that in Abidjan, Drogba wasn't just a sports star. He was a national institution. Every Saturday when Chelsea played, markets slowed down, traffic froze, and viewing centres transformed into mini Stamford Bridges. If Drogba scored, the entire city erupted. But in October 2005, his impact went way beyond 90 minutes of football. At the time, Ivory Coast was torn apart by a brutal civil war, divided between the rebel-held north and the government-controlled south. In October 2005, after qualifying the country for its first ever World Cup, Drogba invited state TV cameras into the locker room. Surrounded by players from both sides of the conflict, he grabbed the mic and delivered the line that would replay across the country for weeks. "We beg you, on our knees." And as he said it, the entire team went down with him. Was it a magic wand that solved deep political corruption overnight? No. But what it actually did was unprecedented. It forced a desperate ceasefire and gave political leaders an excuse to talk peace without losing face. 2 years later, Drogba pushed for a national team match to be played in Bouaké, the rebel capital. Before kickoff, he handed the former rebel leader a pair of custom boots stitched with the words "Together for Peace." That night, roughly 200 government troops stood in the stands and sang the national anthem alongside the rebel soldiers they'd been fighting for 5 years. Football didn't sign the treaty, but Drogba forced the door open. Because of that moment, supporting Chelsea in Ivory Coast stopped being about Premier League standings. It became personal. That's why 20 years later, you can still walk through Abidjan and find kids in faded number 11 shirts who weren't even born when he scored that goal against Sudan. Some legacies are measured in trophies. His is measured in a country that's still here. Most elite strikers built their stats padding goals against relegation candidates on a sunny Saturday afternoon. Drogba saved his absolute nastiest performances for when the stakes were highest. 10 major cup finals, 9 goals. He's the only player in English football history to score in 3 different League Cup finals. And separately, the only one to score in 4 different FA Cup finals. Wembley wasn't just a national stadium, it was practically his personal summer home. It all culminated in Munich, 2012, 88th minute, 1-0 down to Bayern in their own stadium. And Chelsea hadn't won a single corner in 87 minutes. Bayern had 18. Then Juan Mata swings in Chelsea's first corner of the entire match, and Drogba generates enough power with his neck muscles to nearly break the net. Minutes later, he steps up to take the most high-pressure penalty in Chelsea's history. Calm, unbothered, legend, locked in forever. When Mourinho brought a 36-year-old Drogba back in 2014, rivals laughed and called it nostalgia. They stopped laughing when he scored against Man United at Old Trafford, his first Premier League goal in over 2 years, stabilised a chaotic dressing room and walked away with yet another Premier League title. He didn't come back for a paycheck. He came back to teach a new generation what it actually meant to play for Chelsea. And that standard is exactly why every striker who walked through Stamford Bridge after him faced an impossible task. It wasn't just a starting position he left behind. It was a shadow over the entire club. One that took a decade to step out of. Since Didier Drogba left Stamford Bridge, Chelsea's strategy for replacing him has been simple. Spend staggering amounts of money and pray. Fernando Torres, Alvaro Morata, Romelu Lukaku, Timo Werner. Nearly £300 million burned on players who were supposed to be the next Drogba, and almost every single one of them crumbled under the weight of the number 9 shirt. Why? Because Chelsea kept buying expensive finished products instead of looking for that raw, hungry, unshakable mentality Drogba brought from day one. What made Drogba different wasn't just physical strength, it was the hunger of a player who fought his way through lower-tier French football before getting a shot. West Africa is overflowing with that exact profile right now. Raw, physically dominant, technically gifted players who thrive under pressure. Yet Chelsea has spent the last decade scouring South America and mainland Europe, while largely ignoring the region that gave them their greatest modern icon. If Chelsea's current ownership is serious about building a multi-club global network, build or partner with a real academy on West African soil, let players develop and compete domestically until they're old enough to transfer internationally then bring the best of them to Stamford Bridge at 18, fully developed and match tested. Same long-term payoff, same give back to the fan bases in Abidjan and Lagos that have backed this club unconditionally for 20 years. Didier Drogba didn't just win trophies, he redefined what it meant to play for Chelsea and united a nation in the process. Is modern Chelsea ever going to find that Drogba mentality again, or are they looking in all the wrong places? Let me know your pick for Chelsea's greatest African player in the comments below, and hit subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.